independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
The feud between Nancy Pelosi and a group of progressive Democrats. President Trump is again weighing in some racially charged language. I want to read this to you. It says, quote, "So interesting to see progressive Democrat congresswomen who originally came from countries whose governments are a complete and total catastrophe, the worst, most corrupt and inept anywhere in the world, if they have a functioning government at all, now loudly and viciously telling the people of the United States, the greatest, most powerful nation on earth, how our government is to be run. Why don't they go back and help fix the totally broken and crime-infested places from which they came, then come back and show us how it's done? These places need your help badly. You can't leave fast enough. I'm sure Nancy Pelosi would be very happy to work out free travel arrangements."
Oh, dun, 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 dun. Let the racism begin, and the battle begins. And away they head. He's evil, he's bad, he's racist. Saying that doesn't mean anything. You've been calling him a racist since before he became president. At some point in time, he stopped listening to anything you have to say, and so did the people that support him, because you call him racist all the time. Don't you think it's a racist tweet? I don't really care. But Chad, look, at this point in time, he's the president. You vote him out, you vote him out. That's it. Period. Case closed. I don't like the insanity that goes on in the tweeting world. But we talked about it last week. 7% of America has Twitter. Out of that, about 3% uses it or reads anything on it. So think about that for a second. That's insane. Twitter's used a lot of places around the globe, far more than it is here. He's a racist. He's evil. He's bad. You've already thought that. This hasn't changed anything. This wasn't news. If he didn't tweet this, you still think that. Do I think there are people here? I said it earlier. I did a live stream. I said it earlier. Do I think there are people here that hate America? No, I think there are people here that want to remake America in a much different way. That don't like don't like how America became America. So they want to remake America. And they want to remake America what it's about, and they want to rewrite history. I think that's real. Did I like this tweet? No. Right? I didn't. I didn't care much for it. I don't care much for the tweeting at all, to be honest with you, all day long. But do I think there are people out there that absolutely don't like this country? Yeah. What if she was Swedish? And he said, go back to your country. If you like Sweden so much, go back to your country. Right? What if that? Just curious. Would that be racist? No, it'd be xenophobic. Whatever it is. But yes, I do think there are people here, and people in government in particular, that quite frankly aren't a fan of what this country is. They don't like what America stands for, except for certain things that they can pick and choose. Every country in the world has its warts, right? Has its, wasn't my best moment. Every country does. Every country. I try to remind people of that as they look for that perfect country that's never done anything to anybody ever. It's crazy. But this is what people will be talking about all day. Still have a mess at the border, right? We're talking about raising the debt ceiling. Yeah, we're going to spend some more money. And by the way, here's something for Trump. You spend like a Democrat. Out of control. This whole government is out of control. Spending-wise. I don't care about the trade deficit because, again, we're a consumer-based nation. But I do care in a lot of ways about how much debt we're getting ourselves into. That I find to be something we don't talk about because it's not exciting. This is exciting. We can fight about stuff like this.
This phrase, go back where you came from, has a painful history. We know racism against minorities and immigrants in this country is nothing new, but a president normalizing it in such a public way is. Now what he is doing with these tweets is really hearkening back to the age-old racist notion that white is American, that people of color are not, that they are other, that immigrants are not part of this country.
I mean, you're reading into a lot. Essentially, and this is something else that when you give, the whole thing is you're giving somebody power and you're making it bigger than it should be. right? You're giving Ilhan Omar and AOC and all of them, by fighting with them constantly, you're giving them more spotlight and you're helping grow their base of people who can't stand you. Best thing to do is ignore them. That's it. But you're going to read into the tweet whatever you want. Do I think it's a racist tweet? I'm going to tell you this right now. I don't know him. I don't. Wanting to have a sovereign border has turned into racism. Doesn't matter if you're Donald Trump or if you're just the average person who says, this is ridiculous what's going on at the border and we need to stop this. You're automatically a racist. Do I know what's in his heart? I don't know what's in his heart. I don't. He could be the worst human being on earth racism-wise. I mean, he could be just sitting around just talking about all kinds of horrific things. Or he could just be a guy that fired something off because he doesn't like somebody. I don't know. But it doesn't matter because it's something to talk about. Something to talk about. Who wouldn't? I mean, honestly, who wouldn't want to get into a Twitter battle with the president? I'd love to. Raise that profile? Got no problem with that. Got no problem with that. But Chad, he's evil and bad. He's got no effect on my life. Does he have effect on your life that much? I mean, are you waking up every day going, this is it. I don't know if I can go on anymore. Or, oh, my God, my life's so much better. No, it's just ridiculous. But people will talk about this all day. Again, I don't know if he's a racist, if he's not a racist. What I do know is he's been called a racist so much that after a while, people stop listening because they know exactly what you're going to say. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Speaking of racism,
Congressman Chuy Garcia of Chicago telling a crowd Sunday,
we haven't heard of any confirmed raids, larger operations.
Still, many immigrant rights groups met giving information on how people can protect themselves from raids.
So we're going to let them know, hey, I think I see something here.
Chicago City Alderman Rosana Rodriguez says she did notice fewer people out in her district on Sunday.
People are not coming out to do their grocery shopping as usual.
The group's warning the raids could still happen in the coming days, possibly at businesses as people show up for work.
Yeah, there was nothing. I mean, it was raids. They talked about that word itself, the raid word, right?
I will say that I think using the term raid does everybody a disservice. We are doing targeted enforcement actions against specific individuals who have had their day in immigration court and have been ordered removed by an immigration judge. We are merely executing those lawfully issued judge's orders. We went above and beyond in this circumstance and gave these individuals back in February an opportunity to turn themselves in to arrange for an orderly process to be removed from the country. At this point, we have no choice but to go out and execute those lawfully issued removal orders from an immigration judge.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second there. They're lawful orders handed down by judges after people had gone through the entire process. Over the weekend, I heard on numerous shows, we got to get the bad people. We got to get the bad people. We got to get the bad people. Then we got to get everybody that's told they have to leave. Let's start with the bad. Oh, wait, in a lot of places we can't because making sure that you're a sanctuary city or state, you're stopping ICE from going into jails and prisons to get the bad person. All right, so you're going to protect them. What have I always said? Eventually, they're going to go fishing elsewhere, right? There's no fish in this pond, and we're not allowed to fish here. But I can't stop fishing because this is my job, so I'm going to go fish in another pond. And when you tell me that you don't want people deported that have gone through the entire process, the process that you said, oh, we don't need to change this law. We need to listen to what this law says, and we need to allow people to go through the process. And then you say, well, I don't want them to leave either. Then what are you telling me? You're telling me, open borders is fine. By the way, listen to this. This is Biden at a stop, and he's getting hammered by people because the reality, and I said this earlier, the deporter in chief isn't Trump. Trump's trying to stop people from coming first. Obama, totally different.
Will you apologize for the 3 million deportations under the Obama administration?
No. What I will...
3 million deportations under the Obama administration! Apologize now! Apologize now! 3 million deportations under the Obama administration! Apologize now!
Ugh. I like it. You like how they apologize now or else? Or else what? Or else what? What are you apologizing for? He's like, no, I'm not going to apologize. I'm not going to apologize. He later went on to say, it was pretty funny. He essentially said, look, you guys don't want to hear what I had to say, but when I become president, it won't be a criminal act to cross the border, and only criminals will be deported. So we'll see. But they're pissed at him, right? And I saw over the weekend, there are a lot of people that are looking at and going, Obama was far worse than this. Obama was awful. The last 5. You go back to Clinton and Bush and the other Bush and Obama, and even towards the end of what'd you see? Getting people out of here. Trump, that ain't happening. He ain't building his wall, and he ain't throwing people out. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Have you shopped?
The wait is over. The 2 days of bargains known as Amazon Prime Days are underway. It's a lot like Christmas in December, so act like you're holiday shopping.
Really be smart about your purchases. Make a list in advance of items you want to target.
Nerd Wallet's Kelsey Sheehy says that may mean spending some time away from Amazon.
Set alerts and install browser extensions so you can track prices easily across multiple websites and make sure that you're getting the best deal.
Competitors like Walmart are promising to meet or beat Amazon's Prime Day prices.
Yeah, I did some Amazon Prime shop, not going to lie to you. I looked around a couple places, got an amazing deal. Why not, right? Like, it's awesome. It's awesome. And there were some prices elsewhere that when I was looking at some stuff, I was like, oh, that's even better. But yeah, the stuff that I wanted, it's a great deal. And who's not going to do it? And God knows how much they're going to do. But you got to be careful out there, too. And it's so hard nowadays with Amazon because it's so easy to go on and create a bunch of fake sites and say this is the most amazing product when really it's not. So that's a tough thing you got to be careful of. But if you know exactly what you want and you've tested it out, yeah, it's good today. It's good. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Hope you had a good weekend. Text the program. Always love hearing from you. You can text us directly, or you can check us out on the old internet, interweb, social media world at Chad Benson. Also on Instagram and Facebook as well. Your teeth. My teeth. No, your teeth. My teeth look great. Your teeth, on the other hand, they could use a little work. Just a smidge, right? You get older, your teeth start to move a little bit. Not as pretty as they used to be. Well, guess what? This is where Candid comes in, and they're incredible. How about this? Licensed orthodontist, licensed in your state, right? So you got orthodontist licensed in your state. You're never going to have to go to an orthodontist office. They're going to map out a full 3D plan of what they're going to do for your teeth. Then they're going to create custom clear aligners. They're going to send them directly to you. And in about 6 months' time, cleaner, straighter, brighter, whiter teeth. Boom. And, 65% less than braces. That is what Candid will do for you. It's amazing. It's awesome. And they're offering my listeners a special discount. Check this out for yourself. Go to candidco.com/Benson. That's candidco.com/Benson. Again, special discount for my listener. candidco.com/Benson. Straighter, whiter, brighter teeth in just 6 months. That's Candid. candidco.com/Benson. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Take a fake news break. Check out the really important news of the day at our website, ChadBensonShow.com. Once there, click on Chad's free podcast and get real. The Chad Benson Show, where truth and the American way live. Print free.
You may have seen it on your Facebook feed, a group planning to storm Area 51 on September 20th titled, "They Can't Stop All of Us." The idea being if enough people join in, 1 million have already marked that they're going, that then the crowd can't be stopped, and finally the public could find out what's in the mysterious military base in the Nevada desert, long the focus of alien conspiracy theories. It's believed the Facebook group is a joke, but the military telling reporters it discourages anyone from trying to get into Area 51, and the U.S. Air Force always stands ready.
Yeah, translation. Try it. Let's see what happens. You're going to get 1 million people. How many people do you think will really show up? 5,000? Right? 10,000? Say 1% shows up? If 1 million showed up, there's an issue. But the reality is probably couple thousand, maybe a little bit more will show up. Looky-loos, the whole 9 yards. Maybe 5,000 or 10,000 show up. I don't think anybody's going to try anything. Somebody asked me earlier, what do you think the military would do? I said, well, it depends. Are they serious? I think if 10,000 people starts running, they're like, well, they'll probably gas them. I said, no, I think they'll thin the herd. Right? You'll be running thinking, we're doing this, and all of a sudden the three people around you aren't around you anymore, and you turn around and they're 50 yards behind you in bits and pieces. You think twice. But I don't think there will be some idiot that will try something, because we live in a world of idiots, and idiots will try something. What is it they will try? I do not know. But the reality is idiots will try something at some point in time. If this thing goes off and you have 3, 4, 5, 10,000 people show up, somebody's going to try something. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me, kids. No, I like it when you tweet at me. Why are people afraid of Bitcoin? I am curious.
The Treasury Department has expressed very serious concerns that Libra could be misused by money launderers and terrorist financiers.
Yeah, that's Mnuchin right there. They don't like cryptocurrency because they don't control cryptocurrency. And Libra is going to be the Facebook version of cryptocurrency. And what they can't control, what they can't see behind, hence the reason why the blockchain is so vitally important. A lot of people think it's going to be the thing that changes so much in our world. They don't like that. They like control. Currency, electronic transfers in the way that they can see it, nothing encrypted. They want control. And when you don't give them control, they come out and say, oh, it's going to be all kinds of bad things. Bad people are going to lie their money. It's going to go, bah. Get ready for it, kids. I don't know if I do Libra because I don't know if I trust Facebook. There's Facebook's problem. You launched Bitcoin, if you will, or one of these cryptocurrencies, and nobody trusts you. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
This is the agenda of white nationalists. Whether it is happening in chat rooms or it's happening on national TV, and now it's reached the White House garden.
Woo! That's the squad, as they're being called right now. The squad. There's 4 of them. But really, the famed ones are, I think, man, right now, there's a battle of second place, Tlaib, Ilhan Omar. I think Ilhan's there, right below Tlaib. Number 1 is AOC. AOC she's the squad. She is the squad.
Weak minds and leaders challenge loyalty to our country in order to avoid challenging and debating the policy.
I'll debate you. I will. I've invited them all on the show. I'll give you guys the whole day. All right. You don't want to debate. You don't have a talk. Let's debate. I love it. That's great. Let's have a conversation. I got 0 problems with that. Chad, Trump's a racist. You've been calling him a racist the day he started. Do you think this changes anything? It doesn't. Should he have said what he said over the weekend? No. What a clown. That's a clown move. That's like a rookie move. And by the way, if you want to get at somebody, ignore him. Ignore him. If you ignore him, that's great. Instead, they've been on the news for the last 30 plus hours as victims. You gave them everything they wanted. Ignore them. Treat them as if they didn't exist. But you can't because you love to fight. You can't, because you need there to be a kerfuffle always. You need drama. You do. And they love it. They're soaking up every minute of it. They're just loving every second of it. Does it change anything? No. Does it deal with any of the things that need to be dealt with? No. Doesn't. It just gives people more of an opportunity to come out and to ramble on and just, it is what it is.
He tells us that I should go back to the great borough of the Bronx and make it better. And that's what I'm here to do.
Yeah, but Nancy Pelosi also said last week if they ran a glass of water with a D by its name in your area, that would win. It's just, this is what we're talking about. We got immigration problems. We got an issue right now when it comes to health care in this country that isn't getting dealt with in a serious manner that needs to be getting dealt with. We got real issues in this country. And instead, you got everybody running around playing grab ass about what he tweeted and they tweeted and the squad and this, that, and the other. No, my God, he's jerking. He's a racist. Of course, you thought that yesterday. So none of this changes it. Now it's more of an opportunity for TV to talk about it. What? Not fixing anything, kids. Tell you that right now. If you thought he was a racist Saturday night, nothing changed. If you like Trump, you might have rolled your eyes, but you probably thought, well, he's right to some extent, and nothing changed. I think we call that a push. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Shows your Twitter. You could tweet at us. Do love hearing from every single one of you. Stuff that matters, we got that like this.
In the past week, the Energy Department reporting the price of regular unleaded nationwide has gone up about 4 cents to $2.78 a gallon. In the Midwest, prices rising 10 cents in the past week. The only area of the country seeing gas prices going down a bit is along the West Coast.
Yeah. Where it was extremely high to begin with out here, we've had it go down a little bit. I think I paid like $2.76, but on the South Coast, the Southeast, where you've had Barry roll on through and do enough damage and knock enough stuff offline, you're going to see prices rise a little bit. Here's a perfect example, though, of what affects you day to day. Him tweeting out something stupid that is water cooler laughter and argument, and then the squad coming out and doing their 15, 20 minutes of look at us and do our thing. Or, hey, guess what? It's costing me an extra $5-10 every time I fill up. That matters. That matters big time. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. This I found to be very, very interesting. I want you guys to soak this up for a second, right? Just for a second. She's a soccer player. She could have been on the U.S. national team. She is being told by everybody the reason she isn't because she's a Christian, but because she's homophobic. Because in this day and age, we cannot disagree with one another without labeling somebody. I can disagree with you and you can disagree with me, and we can go, well, we just have a difference of opinion. Doesn't mean I'm right, doesn't mean I'm wrong, and vice versa. We have a differing opinion. But now, in the world that we live in, if I look over at you and you look over at me and I say whatever, you call me whatever you feel that you want to call me, racist, homophobic, whatever it is. And so Janelle Hinckley is her name, and she had a chance to be on the national team. But she said, nah, for one reason.
I wanted to know everything and anything about the Lord.
After a successful senior year, Jaylene was called up into nationals and began playing for the Women's Professional League. Then in 2017, she was invited to play for America in 2 international friendlies games.
When you honestly take a second and step back and almost have that outer body experience of just, I'm being invited to play the game I love for my country. There's an emblem of the U.S. flag on your chest. That's huge.
Yeah, that's huge. Any player, that's their dream. Who are you going to represent? For some players, it is your parents' homeland or your grandparents' homeland, right? Because maybe they have a better team. And for a lot of people, though, it is your homeland. And the chance to do that, it's real. And they've come out today, several of them, and basically gone after and say, because she said, look, there's no place on the national team for Christians, which I don't know if that's true or not. But one of the reasons she turned it down is because, you know what? She is a Christian, and it was the rainbow.
Then, days before the event, it was announced that the team jersey was designed to honor the LGBT community. Jaylene again turned to God.
I just felt so convicted in my spirit that it wasn't my job to wear this jersey. And I gave myself 3 days to just seek and pray and determine what he was asking me to do in the situation.
In the face of opposition and social media backlash, Jaylene withdrew from the games with the support of her teammates.
Except for the point where she's a homophobic. You can disagree. I want to tell everybody this. You could look at somebody and say, I believe that marriage is between a man and a woman. And that is not, I'm anti you or your beliefs. It's my belief. Right? You can look at somebody and say, I believe whoever loves somebody should be able to love them. And if they want to get married, then let it be. Whether it's a man and a man, a woman and a woman, 4 men, 1 woman, whatever it is. Right? And guess what? I'm not anti-Christian. I'm not anti-whatever. But that's unfortunately what we've become. We've become this world where the minute you have a belief, everybody else who doesn't believe like you do is wrong. And in this crazy woke world that we live in a certain segment of society, in Twitter's verse, and let's remind everybody, it was like 7% of people are on Twitter in America, right? Or that use Twitter at all. So it's not like there's this massive amount of people that is using Twitter. So, it's insane. And yet they can control so much of the dialogue, and then they could deem you something, and boom, you become that. So she's got to, if this was somebody who was of the Islamic faith, and part of this has to do with the fact that Christianity was the driving religion that drove so much of this country, and we're trying to, as we talked about the squad earlier, and how maybe that, you know what? I'm not a big fan of the way Trump acts, and I think that what he said was childish and asinine at the same time. I can also look and say, there's some people out there that, quite frankly, don't love what this country is, love where they maybe think it can go, like the opportunity they gave it. I can be honest about that. Other people won't. But because it's Christianity, if this was somebody of the Islamic faith, probably have a different story. Probably wouldn't say those kind of things. But now it's us versus them always. And the reason is it's so much easier to try to demonize somebody than try to show them, hey, this is why I believe what I believe. I'm never going to change your mind, and you're never going to change my mind. It gets to that point where it's a push, and so instead of doing that, I'll just demonize you. So somehow I get a leg up on you, which is stupid. It is. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Do love hearing from you. Good news today about a bad person.
Today, that Charlottesville judge upholding the recommendation from the jury, sentencing James Fields Jr. to a second sentence of life in prison plus 419 years. Fields drove his car into a crowd of people at that Unite the Right rally 2 years ago, killing Heather Heyer and injuring several more. He was already given a life sentence a week ago after being found guilty of 29 hate crimes. Fields has admitted he drove into that crowd on purpose.
Yeah, scumbag, and he's getting exactly what he deserves. And hopefully people can move on this, and hopefully lessons were learned. But probably not, because emotions override so many things. So, and now a perfect example today of, Trump's out there, and whether people want to believe it or not, yeah, there's a certain dog whistle in some of the things he says. Whether he understands that that's happening, there's a certain sect of society, just like there's another group out there who, like Antifa, you got a guy this week, you had people this weekend take the American flag down, defecate on it, write on it, the blue, the American flag that was the, for police officers, raise the Mexican flag. You had a kook from Antifa who tried to blow up some stuff, didn't go well, and then he got blasted. But you won't hear about stuff like that. But we're at this bizarre world where we just all we seem to do is just take our rage and anger, and it's nuts. It's nuts. But TV's become rage and anger. TV's got a huge part to play in this. It's got a massive part to play in this. They enjoy it because conflict equals viewers. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. And on Twitter, you can tweet at me, My Pillow. Maybe everybody needs a My Pillow. Maybe that'd do everybody good. So get yourself a My Pillow. All right? You just lay down. Just close your eyes. Just feel the softness of it. It's amazing. It's incredible. It is incredible. Right now, for my listeners, something amazing. 60-day money-back guarantee. They're putting their money where their mouth is. 60-day money-back guarantee. 2 premium pillows, less than $70. Free shipping. It is incredible. Same amazing My Pillow. Made here in the U.S. of A. Shipped directly to you. It's machine washable and dryable, and it's got a 10-year warranty, and you get a 60-day money-back guarantee. What are you doing? Jump on this now. You want to sleep better? This is the way you do it. Go to mypillow.com, mypillow.com. Use promo code Benson, or call 800-983-4975, 800-983-4975, and use that promo code Benson. Less than $70. 2 premium pillows shipped directly to you for free. 60-day money-back guarantee. MyPillow.com. MyPillow.com. Promo code Benson. Chad Benson Show.
Don't let the Washington Beltway strangle you. This is where the exhausted majority comes to refuel, realign, and reevaluate. This is Chad Benson.
Little Paul McCartney right now. Wrapping it up, baby. That was his final show, Dodger Stadium yesterday or over the weekend. And playing the drums, another former Beatle, Ringo Starr. First time they've been on stage in forever. And think about this. You got half of the Beatles. The other 2 ain't coming. They ain't coming. So to see something like that had to be kind of cool. Had to be kind of interesting. Because you know that you're not going to get George, you're not going to get John. So this is it. The best we can do. The best we can do is these 2. What if they feel anything? What if they think about it during the day? Like, man, we had so much stuff going for us. I mean, yeah, we did okay afterwards, but still. Did we kill the golden goose? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Do love hearing from everybody. I don't know what this Epstein. Think about this. Epstein and R. Kelly, like, what a giant mess. And I don't know, this guy, as far as I'm concerned, for all the crap that went on last week and all the cuckoo and craziness, they're looking into all kinds of things. How many people did... See, people are saying, well, what about Trump? Trump had to... First of all, they like to golf a lot. Trump only likes to golf where he likes to golf, which is his place. Secondly, Trump likes to fly on 2 planes, his plane and Air Force One. So he ain't flying on anybody else's plane. So that kind of kills a lot of that narrative. But as far as this guy having a chance to get out of jail on bail, no.
Defense attorneys invoked Bernie Madoff, Enron's Jeff Skilling, and other high-profile defendants who have been granted bail. They said Jeffrey Epstein would sign a bond in any amount and accept any monetary conditions. Prosecutors said Epstein's financial disclosure should alarm the court. They said Epstein's wealth makes him an extraordinary risk of flight. And they said in his home were found diamonds, piles of cash, and an expired phony passport.
Yeah, and why diamonds are a girl and a guy's best friend, if you're going to go out and, get some cashola, diamonds, they're not traceable. So you can do a lot of stuff with that. Yeah, I wouldn't let this guy anywhere out of there. Goodbye. Enjoy jail. You'll stay here till we sentence you. I mean, that's after the trial, but you get what I'm saying. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Did you, Producer Phil, you like the space and weird stuff. Did you see the hoverboard, flyboard in France?
Did
you see that thing?
Incredible?
That is insane. If you guys haven't seen it, it's like a hoverboard, flyboard. It looks like you're standing on this like a skateboard kind of, or almost drone, and it's got special force guy on who's flying around, and it is incredible. And apparently they're going to use that for Bastille Day and several other parades, and their special forces may use it to be above the crowd. So look at that technology, huh? I always want to think that we're like kind of advanced, and there's another group of people and species or life forms out there. They look at that, and that is they're just laughing at that, right? We are Little House on the Prairie to other worlds. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Shows your Twitter. Tweet at me. Love and hate. I'll take it all, kids. I'll take it all. We can be kind to each other, though. We need to start out the conversation by telling me to blank off. That doesn't help. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
This president does not know how to make the argument that Americans do not deserve health care. He does not know how to defend his policies. So what he does is attack us personally.
That right there is AOC, the squad as they've been deemed now. The squad. I saw a couple of the Talking Head shows this weekend, and both of them, Chris Wallace, I can't believe I got to say this to squad because I feel like I'm back in high school. But Trump over the weekend, he not only he poured gasoline, he decided, you know what, I think I'm gonna light this thing. And as Trump does in Trumpian fashion, he lit it, and the way they went, and now the battle is on. People say, "Did you like what he said?" I'm like, no, I don't like 90% of the crap that he says. He says a good portion of it for shock value. He trolls. And it's just crazy the way people bite into it. But if you're really serious about, quieting voices, then don't give them a voice. It's what he did here. And they came out today and they defended themselves, because there was 1,000 cameras there. So take advantage of it, right?
He's launching a blatantly racist attack on 4 duly elected members of the United States of House of Representatives, all of whom are women of color.
So that's Ilhan Omar. Essentially, it was really designed for you, right? That's the reality. The tweet was about you. You've come from Somalia. You came here when you were 12. And yeah, there's times I listen to you talk and I think to yourself, I think a lot of progressives, that you like what the country, and this is for people who've born here and raised here and people who've come here. You like in many ways what the country has given you. You hate the way that the country became the country that it is. So you have a problem there. Did I think what he said was awful? Let me ask you a question. I want all honesty. Did you hate him before this? Did you? If you hated him before this, you probably still hate who he is as a person. If you liked him before this, you probably still like them. That's the reality of it. He doubled down on it today.
I didn't mention names, and I didn't do that, but I will tell you, with our country, and I think everybody in this audience, these are great manufacturers, great workers in our audience, too. They brought a lot of their workers here. If you're not happy here, then you can leave.
Again, he continued to be what he is, right? He continued to be Trump. What'd you expect? That's Trump. That's what Trump does. He's a provocateur. He says crap. I don't like it. I didn't like it. It was an asinine thing to say. It was an insensitive thing to say. In this day and age, what are you thinking? At the same time, he enjoys this battle. And they enjoy it. They soak it up. You kidding me? Hell yeah, they're loving every second of this. They're loving every second of this. So let the battle begin of social media. Let the battle begin of who gets the bigger TV audience and who can do stuff. The reality is he's still the president. You can hate him. And many people have since the day he came down those escalator stairs. They thought he was a buffoon and a joke. Now that he's president, he's evil and bad. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I just think the whole thing is stupid. I think a lot of this stuff that he gets into is not necessary, and yet he continues to do it. His base loves it. I find it a waste of time when I look around and I see, hey, we still have a problem going on at the border. We still have a problem with the fact that healthcare is a giant mess and it doesn't seem to be going anywhere. We still have issues that need to be dealt with here, but we're too busy playing high school to get that. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. Speaking of immigration, those big raids. Woo!
Congressman Chuy Garcia of Chicago telling a crowd Sunday,
"We haven't heard of any confirmed raids, larger operations."
Still, many immigrant rights groups met, giving information on how people can protect themselves from raids.
So we're going to let them know, hey, I think I see something here.
Chicago City Alderman Rosana Rodriguez says she did notice fewer people out in her district on Sunday.
People are not coming out to do their grocery shopping as usual.
The group's warning the raids could still happen in the coming days, possibly at businesses as people show up for work.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, this weekend, so I'm watching a couple, everybody's doing the rounds, and they're talking about this on all the talking head shows. And several of the commentators, to their credit, said, well, what's wrong with these quote-unquote raids? First of all, that's not I didn't like that. I don't think you call it raids. You're essentially giving you're empowering the people and the powers that be to go out with the removal orders and remove people that have had since February to leave after going through the entire process, a process which the left wants to defend. But then when it comes to the point where they say, okay, well, we've done everything we possibly can, you've exhausted all the legal resources, you have to go now, then they want to protect. And I think that's what gets a lot of people frustrated. That's what gets me frustrated. I look at this and say, well, hold on a second. We need to fix the asylum laws. That's a number one, right? We need to get that sorted out. But when it comes to the asylum laws currently, your whole thing is you want to say you're a defender of our country as far as our borders, and that people need to go the right route through getting in here and applying for asylum. And at the same time, once they do all the things that you want them to do, when you don't get the answer that you want, you're okay with them skirting the law at that point in time. And nobody ever gives an answer of like, well, we shouldn't be that way. And then I heard him say, well, we really need to go after criminals. Well, you don't allow in a lot of cities, big cities especially, you're not allowing ICE to work in the jails or the prisons. How many times do I have to tell you? Eventually, they're going to fish somewhere else. And that asylum law needs to change. Whether it does or not, we shall see. Trump's trying.
The Trump administration today rolled out a new rule that would require asylum seekers to first apply for asylum in a country they pass through on their way to the U.S. This move would, in effect, end asylum protections for most migrants coming to the U.S. from Central America. The new rule is sure to be challenged in court. U.S. law currently allows asylum seekers to seek refuge when they arrive in the U.S., no matter how they came here. President Trump has pushed for a safe third country agreement with Mexico, where asylum seekers would first apply there before coming to the U.S.
Now, in the UN, that's what most of it is. So a safe third country, just like if you were escaping the Taliban and you know they were killing you, and they were the government, what's left of them, or the Muslim Brotherhood, or you're a younger in China, and you're escaping what's going on there, which isn't getting talked about nearly enough. You got 2 million people, for all the racist that Trump is. You have 2 million people that are currently sitting in camps, re-education camps, and that's quietly never talked about, right? Quietly never talked about. Talk about the humanitarian crisis. But so you get this situation where you fly from there and you land in Canada. You must apply for asylum in Canada. You can't say, I want to go to America and pass through. Canada's where you have to apply. Now, the rule, right? The rule, if this was to take place, which will be challenged over and over again, essentially allows people that if you fail to get asylum in Mexico, you can apply here. If you've been human trafficked, you can apply here. There's a few other things. So it would directly affect Central American families, undocumented minors who account for a good portion of the surge. But it applies to any nationality, including Haitians, Cubans, and Africans, both South and Central Americans, who traverse through Mexico. So if you're going somewhere else to come up through Mexico, in theory, you'd have to apply there first. It's a theory, though. I don't know if that's going to happen because, well, it's everything now is going to be challenged in court. So whether or not it happens, I couldn't tell you. And if to a person, to a man and woman, of every border agent I've talked to, they have all said the exact same thing. Fix the asylum laws. This fixes so much. Fix the asylum laws. But neither side wants to do it, and one side doesn't even want to enforce it. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. Major lawsuit for millennial ketchup. That's what they call it, kids. We'll talk about that straight ahead. Chad Benson Show.
No fake outrage here, just the real thing. The Chad Benson Show.
It has been called the hipster ketchup. Sriracha, the spicy concoction of David Tron, head of Hoi Fong Foods, an immigrant from Vietnam with a recipe and a dream. What made his sauce so special? For nearly 30 years, he claimed it was a key ingredient: Ventura County peppers grown exclusively by Underwood Farms. Now, he says, he was getting a raw deal.
It's just economics. It was just economics. They would have preferred to have kept the course with Underwood. They would have preferred to have had Underwood continue to grow for them, but Underwood refused to do that.
Yeah, hipster ketchup. So the lawsuit battle begins, and off it heads. So you've got this, and by the way, this guy came here and he built up a massive empire that is sriracha. He has withstood a few lawsuits, including the city where they're located. Basically, so we don't want you anymore because you're stinking up the place. I'm not a fan. Like producer Phil, you're more of a foodie than I am. I've got the palate of a 6-year-old. I'm not a fan of sriracha. I don't need it on everything. It's okay. I don't see it's the must-have.
I don't put it on everything, but I do use it a lot.
Ooh. Man, if you've never had it, again, is the hipster ketchup. Automatically what ends up happening is you get that little bun thing on top of your head where you're a samurai, yet you have no skills. You get a weird little beard, and you wear super tight clothes that are you got to go thin. And then you also have to wear like dress pants, like you have a 32-inch length and your dress pants, you make a 28 and no socks.
Tron gets fired up about his company. At one time, the city of Irwindale wanted his plant out, but he prevailed.
They can kill me. They cannot destroy my business.
About the latest lawsuit, Underwood Farms declined to comment, but in court papers it claims that Hoi Fong Foods violated a written and oral contract to buy Underwood's peppers, pay for its specialized harvesting equipment and that Hoi Foods was seeking an unreasonable price cut for jalapenos. Hoi Fong counters it overpaid Underwood $1.4 million before they parted ways, and they want that money back.
So the fight began with they got a chance to look in the open market. And by the way, just to let you know, if peppers are lucrative, this lady who apparently had to do the news story in a windstorm is going to tell you that.
In these court documents, we see the price of being a picky pepper processor. Between 2008 and
Come on, can we all agree that was awful?
Between 2008 and 2016, Hoi Foods paid Underwood $190 million.
Mr. Tran and Hoi Fong Foods had to go into the open market, and they soon discovered that they were able to buy the peppers for a lower price and a better quality.
Now Underwood is fighting fire with fire. They are producing their own brand of sriracha. Hoi Fong Foods says it has not hurt their iconic brand. Both parties say they are ready for trial.
Well, trial came. $23.3 million is what they awarded Mr. Underwood and his peppers being on appeal. That's insane. $190 million for peppers. It started out as a very small farm, and when they joined forces, it started to grow. I think it's like, God knows, like 4,000 acres now. And yeah, but at saying that, you producing some sort of pretend sriracha sauce isn't going to do what you think it's going to do. Like sriracha, they're Google at this point in time. You've created maybe at best Bing. Maybe at best. I've never used Bing. Right? I've used Mozilla a few times. But, you know, it's like Chrome and away we head. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us, Trump being Trump, doing what Trump did and does over the weekend, tweeting out. People are angry. People are upset. He's a racist. He's bad. Everybody hates him. Well, not everybody.
If you're not happy here, you can leave. And that's what I say all the time. That's what I said in a tweet, which I guess some people think is controversial. A lot of people love it, by the way. A lot of people love it.
Yeah, there's a lot of people out there. Are they evil and bad? No. Are there some people out there that are, how should we say this, a little mighty white, little white nationally? Yeah, they probably do like that. The ladies came back and they fired back today. They don't want to take it from them. And now you've got a giant battle going on that is going to get us nowhere, and it's not moving the ball forward when it should be. And quite frankly, I don't like that. I'm sick and tired of the wasted time and effort from the Mueller and bringing him out to fighting over stuff like this. You do realize that after next Friday, they're on recess for 6 weeks. And have they sorted anything out yet?
This is the agenda of white nationalists. Whether it is happening in chat rooms or it's happening on national TV, and now it's reached the White House garden.
Ilhan Omar, who the tweet, for all intents and purposes, that's who it was designed for. She's come out and said some stuff in the past, being very critical. And I got no problem being critical of our country because we've made mistakes. But we never talk about how far we've come. We never talk about how we can do better in a way that doesn't have to demonize who we are as a culture. And somewhere along the line, there's a group of people out there. It's not all Democrats. It's a small size group of Democrats that love, again, what America has offered, hates how America got to where it got to, and wants to rewrite American culture. And that's not what you do. It's not what you do. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
I didn't mention names, and I didn't do that, but I will tell you, with our country, and I think everybody in this audience, these are great manufacturers, great workers in our audience, too. They brought a lot of their workers here. If you're not happy here, then you can leave.
There you go. Trump's doubling down today. Everybody knew who he was talking about. People are texting in chat. It's absolutely nothing but racism. But you see everything through the prism of race. People are unhappy with what America is. Do I think they're unhappy here? No, I think they want to remake America in a much different way. We do have, despite what people say, we have a culture here, and that culture has made it so many people around the globe want to come here. That's a big thing. And do I think there are a lot of people out there that would like to get rid of this culture? I mean, my God, we have a presidential candidate in Beto O'Rourke who apologizes on a daily basis for God knows what and talks about things like this.
This country was founded on white supremacy, and every single institution and structure that we have in our country still reflects the legacy of slavery and segregation and Jim Crow and suppression, even in our democracy.
And you know what? Last night, him and his wife are out apologizing about the fact that their ancestors, that they never met. That if they came back to haunt them, he'd be like, who are these people? They were slave owners, and it's somehow what? I mean, it's so ridiculous because we're not talking about things. The fact that we're raising the debt ceiling, the fact that healthcare is still out of control, the fact that we're not dealing with the border issues the way that we should have, and that the past 5 administrations have largely ignored it, and that includes not just the president's side of things, but Congress, right, the Senate have ignored things and allowed it to get to the point where it is ridiculous. Trump said something over the weekend that I do agree with, which is there's a lot of people on the left who don't want to find out what the real number is when it comes to the census and how many people are here illegally. Yeah. Because there is a point where people go, all right, that's too much. That's too much for me. That's too much for me. Do I think that this is a story that is going to be overblown? Yeah, because it's a great way to tell everybody what a horrible human being. Those same people are telling you he's a horrible human being because they've been telling you that since the day he came down the escalator. He was a novelty act that they thought would last a couple weeks and give them some fun stuff to talk about. And now he's the president. And he's a pain in their ass. But he's great fodder. He's great at allowing them to continue to give them stuff to talk about when this is the time of the year when it's dead in talk radio, and yet nonstop. If it ain't Russia, it's tax returns. If it ain't tax returns, it's immigration. If it ain't immigration, it's the battle that's going on with the likes of Ocasio-Cortez and Ilhan Omar and Tlaib and Jayapal and everybody. I mean, this is, if I'm Trump, the best thing that you can do if you really are annoyed with these people is ignore them. Don't give it power. But he can't help himself because he needs to battle. And they love it because they need to battle as well. They're just as antagonistic as he is. They are. So let him battle it out. We got other things to do and talk about things like this.
Bond. James Bond.
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 Bond.
James Bond.
Yeah. Those were all the Bonds. But we have a new Bond, apparently. A new Bond. Lashana Lynch. Now, she's in Captain America. And I got to be honest with you. It's stupid. You've jumped the shark. Right? Not that she can't act. Not that I don't wish her the best. But at some point in time, you sit there. It's like, is this going to be I thought Idris Elba was going to be it, right? So I'm like, that's a good Bond. I got no problem with that, right? Zero problems with that. But for whatever reason, in this woke world, and I'm going to throw it out there, it's this woke world of let's just do this and this will be awesome, right? I don't watch any of these movies, but is she going to be James Bond or is she going to be 007? And why don't you write something for a woman or a woman of color or whatever it is that you want to write for to make it this way? We just had a movie that just came out called Anna like a month ago, right? We've had Salt, we've had Peppermint, we've had all of these, these things that have come out. Atomic Blonde. Is this what we have to do? I mean, come on. Does anybody else find this absolutely ridiculous? Well, Chad, you just don't understand because you're not woke. I mean, I'm not woke. No, I live in a world of reality and sanity with the rest of the 85% of the globe who's looking at going, who is this for? Right? Like Thor is now going to be a woman. I mean, at some point in time, it's like, come on. So enjoy it. Again, I don't see any of the James Bond movies because I find them to be just the exact same movie over and over again. But if this is what they're going for now, I have a feeling, some. And how many people go see it just because they feel like, well, I have to go see it? Right? Because I think there's so many people out there that they feel they have to participate in political correctness and wokeness because they feel like it's the right thing to do, whether or not they believe it. Last week, we talked a bit about the fact that, like, doctors right now said if being fat's not the problem, the stigma of fat is the problem. And doctors are, like, stepping up and saying, no, we're afraid to tell our patients anymore, kind of, to give them that kind of advice that they really need because we don't want to hurt their feelings. Just like kids, you see all professors who are saying, I'm afraid of my students and I don't want to really tell them the truth or argue with them because they could hurt my reputation or have me fired. Good God. It's this pandering ridiculousness. Like I often wonder about when it comes to immigration, right? How many of these people that are out there who are just, quote unquote woke, they're out there, they're advocates, they're doing all of these things and they hear these people and they feel like they've got a real pull on these people. And how many of you believe the crap that they're saying? How many of you buy into it? I don't buy into it at all, even if I think they believe it, which, by the way, I'm here to tell you, I think it's a good majority of them that don't believe it. They're just saying the things that they think they have to say to get you to like them. That's a lot of what's going on. They're saying the things that they feel like, oh, I better say this because otherwise I'm going to look like a jerk. It's stupid. But people, if you're here legally or illegally and you hear people talk about these things, do you really buy into what they're saying? Or do you you're just saying that to make me feel good? You're just saying that because you want me to like you. You're not saying that because you believe it yourself. But it's just a lot of that all over the place, right? A lot of it. From companies to everybody, they do things because they want people to like them and feel like they're doing the right thing, even if they don't buy it themselves. Nuts. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. So, the military basically came out and the feds came out and said, look, we know you guys have this big date set up, and we're up near 1 million people, I think, now for the storming the Area 51. And the feds came out and said, look, I get that you guys want to do this, right? It seems kind of funny, but we are here to tell you right now, if you do, we are ready, and the military is ready to unload. I was telling Anthony, because we were talking earlier, like, they know it's a joke. The feds know it's a joke. But there's a clown or two out there that thinks it's going to be real, because you can't have 500,000 or 1 million people and not have a clown or two in there that's going to do something stupid. Because that's what, I mean, it's just the law of averages, right? Somewhere in there is an idiot. And that idiot's going to go too far, and that idiot is potentially going to pay the price. And we'll be able to see it on Twitter. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. You can tweet at us. I want to hear from every single one of you. Interesting survey. If you go to a music festival, what are the things, or any kind of festival, that annoy you? What's the most annoying thing to people? Peeing outside the porta potties is number one. Holding up signs, smelly bodies, moshing, sneaking in or sharing bracelets, taking videos during a set, pushing to the front, people on drugs, hooking up PDAs, showing a lot of skin, cultural appropriation, funny T-shirts or costumes, talking during a set, and singing along loudly. The singing along part drives me crazy. I went to see a concert several years ago with Paul Weller, who is he led a band called The Jam and the Style Council, and there was a guy behind me who sang nonstop, and then in between he would just go Wella. It ruined. That's all I remember from that night. That's all I remember from that night, was just somebody who ruined it. And people who know every song. I know every song, don't you worry. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. It's your Twitter. Hey, it's 2019. Everybody needs a great pair of wireless earbuds. Don't be those people. But you're going to go out and you drop way too much money on a pair. Way too. I always talk to my son and say, because he wants all the, I'm like, dude, it's wrong. There's better things out there that are far, far less expensive, that work just as good, if not better. Raycon. Raycon was co-founded by musician and entrepreneur Ray J, and it is really the use of true wireless audio technologies. Beautiful, comfortable design. They're amazing, and they're about half the price of other premium wireless earbuds on the market. Now, here's the great thing. They're both stylish and discreet. There's no dangling wires or stems, and they don't just look awesome. They sound amazing. It really is incredible. All kinds of ranges of colors and wackiness. It is beautiful. You want sleek and cool. You want a crazy design, unbeatable prices. This is it. I want you to check it out for yourself. Try a pair. You're going to love them. Buy Raycon.com/Benson. You're going to get 15% off your order. That's buyraycon.com/Benson for 15% off. Buyraycon.com/Benson. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Running with scissors sounds great compared to this.
Say what?
This began as an ordinary fishing trip on the San Francisco Bay, something the captain says he's been doing 4 to 5 times a week for the last 20 years. But today's catch literally took his breath away.
What the That's a great white! It's a great white. You're not supposed to catch it. By the way, it's illegal to catch. Now, obviously, you don't know that you're catching a great white. It's not like I have a camera down there if you're catching one. It's illegal to catch one. You got to release them immediately. But towed his little boat around for 2 miles, and is about 6 feet long, 7 feet long. So think about how big that shark was they saw last week in Cape Cod. This is how massive that thing was. It was about 20 feet, 18 feet. Imagine what that thing would do to your boat. That's some scurry stuff. Ooh, man. I saw I was at the Monterey Bay about 10 years ago, and they had a baby great white that they had rescued that was caught up in a net, and they brought it in, and they were nursing it back to health. And it was very interesting, because I will say this, there was a lot of fish inside that big aquarium it was swimming around, and guess what? They gave that little 5-footer they gave him some space. They're like, we're just going to let you do you. We'll do us over here, You do you. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. Some of you texting in. Say, Chad, you're tiptoeing around whether or not Trump's a racist. I don't really care what he is. You're going to call him a racist, then call him a racist. Do I think he says things that are absolutely asinine and stupid? I do. But then I ask you the question about Trump is, if this was a Canadian that had come here and immigrated and happened to be white and he said this stuff, like there are people out there who don't like America and what they are, would, what would you say then? Right? Well, it's not. It's these people. Just because you don't like the way that somebody has their viewpoints and then you go overboard like he has with these tweets, which are stupid, which take away from everything. Not everything has to do with your skin color. Right? Like, not everything has to do with it. Do I think he's got some biases? Yeah, I'll go that far. Do I know what's in his heart? No, I don't. Do you? Do you know 100% what's in his heart? Right? You can be a person of color and be a jerk, and it has nothing to do with the color of your skin and all to do with the fact that you're a jerk. Right? And you could be a jerk and white and not be a racist, just a jerk. It happens. There you go. I just sick and tired of listening to it all day. It's like it's just all day. There's just something that's going on that is just, I don't even care. Really, it's like we're taking away from the things that matter and the things we should be talking about. Should be talking about the fact that healthcare is still not being sorted out in any way, shape, or form. That you're going to have challenge after challenge over the new thing that he's trying to do with asylum. Right? The messenger is very flawed. Doesn't mean the message is wrong. When it's talking about immigration. By the way, it's the whole, we're going to deport a bunch. He didn't deport who? I mean, who's the deporter in chief? It was Obama. Super deporter in chief. Trump wishes he had these kind of numbers. Wishes. And you know who's paying the price for that now? Biden. Biden's paying the price big time for that now. They're getting in his face and telling him, you were the deporter in chief. You need to apologize. You need to apologize for deporting people. Let's talk about health care. Let's talk about the rising cost of the stuff that we need compared to the stuff that we want. Let's talk about fixing a broken immigration system. And let's stop worrying about who gets credit. Right? Was that Reagan who said that? We can all move forward if we don't worry about who gets the credit. The reality is everybody wants credit and they want the other team to win. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. It's the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
I didn't mention names, and I didn't do that, but I will tell you, with our country, and I think everybody in this audience, these are great manufacturers, great workers in our audience, too. They brought a lot of their workers here. If you're not happy here, then you can leave.
Leave! Go! Leave, racist! Is he racist? I think he's Ilhan Omar phobic. That's what I'll say. He's Ilhan Omar phobic. Is a fair thing to say. It's so funny though, because he says something, right? So he goes out and says something, and then the reaction from everybody. Do I think somebody said, do you think people hate America? I said, no, I think people people want to love an America that they want to make in their own mind. They love the opportunity that America has given them, but hated all of the things that have gotten to us to this point where they have the opportunity. They want to rewrite history, and they want to change a lot of things, which includes getting rid of some of America's culture. That's the reality of it. Do I think that Ilhan Omar hates America? I don't think she hates America. But I think she hates a lot of what America is. She does. I think she has a disdain for a lot of what America is, in the sense that she looks at it and says, this isn't right, right? Whether it's the inequities in the world, or whether it's the fact that, you know what, while she's here and she gets to enjoy all of these freedoms and all of these greatness, and she's come from Somalia and as we all know, is an absolute crapper. It is a mess. It's not getting any better. The fact is she hates the fact that she gets to enjoy all of this, all built on people that she can't stand. All built on, you know, the founders of our country who are evil and bad and wrong, yet at the same time, through their actions and what they did, it's given her a platform and an opportunity to come to a country like this. And so for that, she hates. Do I think she hates America? No. And do I think that she's also a bit of a provocateur? Absolutely, I do. 110% I think that. I think she likes saying things that are shocking, and she likes to have the headlines. Let me tell you something. Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, and AOC and Pajaya Pal and all of them, but those three in particular, the other one gets, she thinks she's part, but these three, they love every second of their fandom. They love every second of their celebrity. They love it. I will say this, and I continue to say this. AOC is having the time of her life. She is loving it. Ilhan Omar. I think Ilhan Omar is far more political. Tlaib's kind of in between the two. And AOC she is in so many ways, you know, she's the look at me. But yeah, they love it. They love their fandom. And Trump feeds into it. And then they feed into him. And the battle goes on. And it does.
We export American exceptionalism, the great America, the land of liberty and justice. That is, you know, if you ask anybody in walking on the side of the street somewhere in the middle of the world, they will tell you America the Great. But we don't live those values here. And so that hypocrisy is one that I'm bothered by. I want America the Great to be America the Great.
See, all of those ideals, all of those things that gave her the opportunity, she hates the fact that the opportunity came in the way that it did. She loves an America that in her mind will never live up to the things that she wants it to live up to. So there it is. The battle's going to go on. Trump loves to give as good as he gets. He comes out today. He doubles down, right? Comes after her. And look, there's reason to ask questions on more than a few occasions when it's come to Ilhan Omar. She wasn't held up by the Democrats. They want everybody on the right to hold up Trump for everything he's ever said as if they're part of what he said. And at the same time, she said some stuff, in particular about Israel and nothing, very few.
In one case, you have somebody that comes from Somalia, which is a failed government, a failed state, who left Somalia, who ultimately came here, and now is a congresswoman who's never happy, says horrible things about Israel, hates Jews.
Yeah. She said some stuff. Is it right? No. Is it right what he did? No, not a fan of it. But it is what it is. And this is the time we live in right now, where we're divided. Everything we say, you can look at somebody and decry homophobia, racism, Islamophobia, sexism, whatever, and that ends a conversation, and then the debate happens. And that's ridiculous. I would have done it a different way. He decided to do it his way. In the end, what are people talking about? They're talking about this rather than things that we should be talking about. Do you remember this weekend? We're supposed to have all these raids. Remember that? You guys remember that? No.
Leaders in cities where these raids were supposed to happen say the president is purposefully trying to scare these immigrant communities. We know a number of people did not answer their doors. They were coached, essentially, and told not to answer their doors if ICE knocked and didn't have warrants. But immigration advocates tell us that this threat is still not over. They believe the raids could happen later today or later this week when people head back to work.
Yeah. Is that going to happen? I don't know. Didn't seem to be a lot of what was happening. And remember, we're talking about people that have gone through the entire system here. Either on track of going through the system, they have broken the law, or they have gone through the entire system. And in February of this year, they were told that they had to leave, and they have ignored those orders. And yet people fight back against it. I've yet to have a Democrat who is totally for getting rid of the ICE raids, which they came out this weekend and said it's stupid. These are just orders of removal. These are lawful things to do. Come to me and tell me why this is a bad idea. If you do not want to enforce the laws, then why do we have laws? If you do not want a country to be sovereign, then what should we do? I think it's a very fair question to ask. I really do. I think we have every right to ask the question. Because what I find is nobody really wants to give me an answer. Last week, we talked to a couple people, but I always ask Democrats that, we need to tax people to their fair share. And I always ask them, what's your fair share? What do you think the fair share is? And everybody hems and haws. When I ask people this same question, so you want us to follow the asylum rules up until the point that you don't get the answer you want, then you want people to ignore them. Isn't that basically saying you're fine with open borders? Well, what about the detention center, the ad hominem? We're just going to change it. Okay, here's the thing with the detention center. Let's remember this, right? First of all, government's awful at putting stuff together. I think we know that. They're great at breaking stuff. And what they're not going to do is learn their lesson. And this time next year, when we have another run of unaccompanied minors and things like this, they still won't be prepared for it because they're awful at it. Secondly, these are not people that have applied for asylum at ports. They've come across illegally, so they didn't go to the ports of entry. So that is a totally different thing. Cannot talk about these things in reality because nobody wants to have a real conversation because it's just so much easier to tell everybody how awful they are. You're just the worst person ever. You're awful. You're horrible. You're a xenophobe. You're a racist. You're this. You're that. It's not getting us anywhere. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from you. We joked about it earlier, but it's true, right? I'm not trying to be weird, but I would like your take on the newest, the latest James Bond.
The upcoming 25th James Bond movie is supposed to be the last featuring star Daniel Craig as 007, and there's been a lot of speculation as to who will take over. Should the franchise perhaps look to a woman next, or a person of color? Looks like it may be both. The Daily Mail out of the UK says in the next film, Lashana Lynch will take over the secret agent number of 007. You may remember her as Captain Marvel's best friend in the recent superhero movie. No official comment from the studio so far, and it's unclear if Lynch will then become the star of her own 007 franchise.
Yeah, and what is that? I mean, so is James Bond just gone? And you just handing the number to somebody else? It's just, is this the wokeness that people want? Are you clamoring? First of all, you've been clamoring for another James Bond movie. I don't know too many people are like, man, I just can't wait to get that next James Bond movie. I think it's going to be pretty sweet. But I just feel like it's a bunch of crap. You know, I'm just so over being told, like, hey, this is what's great. Like, we're doing this. I read a headline today. It's about time that they had a black female James Bond. Why not write better scripts for somebody like her to rock and roll with? And by the way, if I was going to go with a black female, right, if like that's the thing we had to do, I would have gone with Domino from Deadpool. She's awesome. I'd roll with her. Give her her own show. I like her. 323-538-2423. If you don't know who Domino is, if you didn't see Deadpool, she's in the second Deadpool. She's part of his team. And her superpower, producer Phil, is luck. She's lucky in everything. So even in fighting, luck happens to her that spins everything onto her side. And she's awesome. And she's good looking, because let's be real. We still don't have a 400-pound James Bond, right? Has trouble breathing and sleep apnea. That'd be awesome. You guys go on. You guys go on. Bond. James Bond. Just call me Jim. That'd be awesome. Where's the fat spy? Maybe we need that, right? Where's our Paul Blart of the spy world? 323-538-2423 at Chet Pence's Show is your Twitter. Oh, man. Blink is amazing, right? Today is what, kids? Anyone? 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 Oh, yeah, baby. Oh, yeah. It is Prime Day. Now is your chance to get rocking and rolling with Blink. And it is incredible. With Amazon Prime, you're getting some great deals today because of Blink. I've got my Blink cameras up right now. And I just got pictures. I went and checked to see what the lizards are doing, because I've introduced some big lizards, and I want to make sure they're doing okay. They're doing fine. It is amazing. It really is what Blink is. And I'm telling you, burglars stay away. It is so simple to set up. Motion-activated cameras. Keep your eye on your home, your pets. No monthly contracts. It's incredible. Wire-free, set up in minutes. Run on 2 lithium batteries up to 2 years. If somebody's snooping around your home, boom! You can catch them. Get your Blink smartphone app. They're going to send you something. They got the 2-way talk feature with the Blink XT2 cameras. It is incredible. And now, Amazon Prime Day, 44% off Blink indoor and outdoor camera systems right this second. Go to AmazonPrime.com, search Blink camera, get up to 44% off. It is so inexpensive. Great way to protect your home. Thanks to Blink, home security got easier. 44% off Amazon Prime Day. Grab it right now. Check it out. Amazon.com. Just search Blink cameras. Blink is an Amazon company, and it works with Alexa. Chad Benson Show.
I can't take it anymore!
Well, get over it. It's time to forge a new path with your very own political cartographer, Chad.
Defense attorneys invoked Bernie Madoff, Enron's Jeff Skilling, and other high-profile defendants who have been granted bail. They said Jeffrey Epstein would sign a bond in any amount and accept any monetary conditions. Prosecutors said Epstein's financial disclosure should alarm the court. They said Epstein's wealth makes him an extraordinary risk of flight. And they said in his home were found diamonds, piles of cash, and an expired phony passport.
Oh, he's not getting bail, right? Like, you don't think you can give him bail, do you? That scumbag? There's no way. I can find all kinds of crap. He says he's got and see why diamonds is important and cash is because they could seize everything. But if you've got diamonds and cash and you escaped, that stuff's untraceable. So you can go hide somewhere where there's no extradition. Yeah. So, but besides being a scumbag, the fact that he has the means to escape, and that there's so many, I mean, when they're just coming out of the woodwork, there's so many people they're looking at, they're talking to, that he may have come in contact with and trafficked or did something to. Yeah, this guy can't go anywhere. Sorry, dude. Just enjoy it. Jail is where you shall stay for the rest of your life.
You may have seen it on your Facebook feed, a group planning to storm Area 51 on September 20th titled, "They Can't Stop All of Us." The idea being if enough people join in, 1 million have already marked that they're going, that then the crowd can't be stopped, and finally the public could find out what's in the mysterious military base in the Nevada desert, long the focus of alien conspiracy theories. It's believed the Facebook group is a joke, but the military telling reporters it discourages anyone from trying to get into Area 51, and that the U.S. Air Force always stands ready.
What happens to that first person that gets 100 yards out there that does take this seriously, and then he gets just lit up? Just comes to pieces. Chad, it's not very nice of you to say something. It's a question. I think it's a fair question. Because somebody, again, law of averages. You have 1 million people You don't think some of them are asshats? Not everybody is all there. Right? Like 900,000 good people, normal people, they see the joke in it all. Right? 50,000 or 59,500 cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, but not all there. Another like 59,500 curious people that would like to see somebody do it. And then you got that, that one or two people that are just like, all right, I'm doing this. And I'm going to film you doing it. Oh, my Lord. That could get ugly fast. I want to see if anybody can show up. What a great boon, doggo, that would be for all the little areas around there. Right? You have Alien Highway. So people showing up. And by the way, when we're talking aliens, we're not talking about, what did I call them? Angelic wandering nomads is what I'm now calling people that have come here from around the globe. The angelic wandering nomads. We're talking about people that have flown in from a far, far land and have crash landed here. Supposedly we have them in custody in the Nevada desert. 323-538-2423. I just hope they're like Roger from American Dad. It's the Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
The Trump administration today rolled out a new rule that would require asylum seekers to first apply for asylum in a country they pass through on their way to the U.S. This move would, in effect, end asylum protections for most migrants coming to the U.S. from Central America. The new rule is sure to be challenged in court. U.S. law currently allows asylum seekers to seek refuge when they arrive in the U.S., no matter how they came here. President Trump has pushed for a safe third country agreement with Mexico, where asylum seekers would first apply there before coming to the U.S.
Is that what they really want to do, though? Probably not. They want to come here. And there's already laws elsewhere where it's not about, it's the first country you come to, free country that you come to, in the UN, the charter, essentially, when it comes to these things, that you can apply for asylum. Now, some of the rules in this are going to be a little bit different. But the reality is a lot of it's kind of similar. So now there's some exceptions in this. And remember, as I've talked to, I don't know how many Border Patrol agents, this has been their number one thing that they said, if you take care of this, this will stop a lot of what's happening at the border. The exceptions are someone's been trafficked. The country the migrant passed through did not sign one of the major international treaties that govern how refugees are managed, though most of the West have signed them. Or if the asylum seekers sought protection in a country but then was denied, that migrant could still apply for the U.S. So if they're trafficked, yes. If the country hasn't signed one, and we don't have that with, like, Mexico. So we'll see how this goes. Or if Mexico says, nah. And Mexico, that first big push about 2-3 months ago when we had that first big caravan, they were allowing people to apply for asylum there, and those people didn't want to stay there. It's not their end game. Their end game isn't escaping their country because of corruption and crime no. Their end game is economic. Corruption and crime has made it so economically it's tough for them, and the criminals and everybody rule the roost. But the reality is it's not to get somewhere safer because they're worried about their government coming down on them. It's because they want an economic opportunity. Don't blame them for it at all. I understand it. In saying that, we're in a situation where that's not part of the asylum law here. You don't get to stay here because of that. And that's why this weekend, when people were freaking out, the reality is that most of the people this weekend had gotten orders in February of the raids that really didn't take place the way that a lot of people thought. But most of them had gotten orders from a judge in February. They had gone through the entire process and were told, you do not meet the standards to stay here. So you have time to leave, but get your stuff ready to go. And they still haven't left. So think about that. Like, talk about looking us in the eye and going, 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us, do like talking to every single one of you. I tried to respond to everybody. We were talking about Bond earlier. So apparently, a couple of people text in that Bond is retiring and he's giving the 007 to the new lady. So we'll see how that goes. So we'll see. Oh, look, good. I hope it's a good thing. I hope it rocks and rolls. I don't watch. I can't even remember. Here you go, producer Phil. Who's the last Bond you actually saw?
I think I saw Daniel Craig.
Yeah, see, I haven't seen any Daniel Craig. I don't think I saw any Pierce Brosnan. I got to be honest with you. I think it might have been, was it Daltrey?
Casino Royale was the last movie I actually went to see in the theaters.
Yeah, see, I can't even. We need a fat Bond. That's what I'm looking at. I'm thinking about that. He could be 0007. XL. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. Like I say, I'll try to answer everybody. So, nudity. Yay or nay?
Michelle Bennett has been sunbathing topless at Park Point Beach in Duluth, Minnesota for 2 years, and she says she's never had any problems until last month. That's apparently when a woman told Bennett she was making her children uncomfortable. When Bennett declined to put her top back on, the woman called police.
So a woman calls police because we're terrified of nudity in this country. And if the beach is designated like optional, and you're uncomfortable, that's on you. I don't have a problem with with the body. I know a lot of people do. It's like we always talk about breastfeeding. People freak out like that's just wrong. It's like, you did it, so shut up. Get over it. What are you afraid of is going to happen?
Turns out Bennett referred the police to a state law that says a person can't publicly expose themselves, but that same law doesn't say if a woman's chest falls in the category. Separate Minnesota law says nudity does include a woman's chest, but it is also considered illegal if one is presenting to an audience, which Bennett says she wasn't doing.
I wasn't being lewd. I was just laying in the sun, minding my own business. They really couldn't establish whether or not I was breaking a law because of that ambiguous language.
So she can't. So she's just laying there. And, look, it's like the whole nude beach things and these weird. Have you ever been to a nude beach? It's not all it's cracked up to be. Right? It's not. And having lived in Europe long enough, I'll let you guys know this. Living in Europe, most of the beaches, everybody's topless. It's not a big deal. Right? They don't make it this weird thing. Not all beaches, right, but a good majority of the decent beaches, it's topless. We have this weird kind of like, oh, God, someone's naked. Oh, jeez. It's like, are they doing anything? No, they're just laying there. Why are you staring at them? You do you. Let them do them, and we'll go from there. Stop freaking out, you weirdo. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. How are you on nudity? So, vigilantes. It's an interesting story. A very interesting story about a lady who feels a little irresponsible, but understandable, and a group of people.
Guy in Philadelphia allegedly stole a car outside a pizza shop with 3 young children inside. The youngest, 7 months old, 25-year-old mother had left the engine running as she ran inside to visit the father of 2 of the children. He worked at the pizza shop. The parents chased down the stolen vehicle on foot after it became stuck in traffic, pulled the alleged carjacker, Eric Hood, out of the car. Hood then allegedly assaulted the father and fled, but a group of people nearby stopped him and beat him to death.
Oh, stop them and beat him to death. Now the question is, what do you do? What do you do to the mob? Right? Like this is old Western style. They've got a lynch mob, but the difference is instead of hanging somebody, right? They went judge, jury, and execution. They went RoboCop on him, and they finished it.
Should the members of the mob be charged, or is this a case of street justice?
In a case like this, with this vigilante-type justice, there's a fine line between praise and prosecution. And if it leans towards the latter and there is a prosecution commenced, I think that the lead charge would likely be voluntary manslaughter. Malice is an element that is necessary for murder. I don't see it here.
No, because if you're punching somebody in a situation like that, trying to help, I mean, especially if there's several people, how do you even know who delivered the death blow, if you will? And yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
I would think that this case, at its worst for me, would be a hung jury. I don't think 12 people will agree that taking a man out of a car with 3 children, their ages were 5 months to 3 or 4 years old, little babies. I don't think that any jury of 12 will be unanimous in convicting for those actions. I just don't see it. I think it's a hung jury at worst for the defendants.
Yeah. But then the question about the mom, and we've talked about, again, it's a tough one right there, right? Because if it's like one of those little pizza shops where you just park right in front, you run in, and you're just going to say hi really quick. There's your boyfriend or your husband or whoever it is who's ever driving the car, and you just want to run in really quick, and you leave the kids in because taking all 3 out. Yeah, is there personal responsibility that needs to go? Could you have expected something like that? In the newer cars nowadays, like I can leave the car running and have the car locked. Probably wasn't the case here.
What about the mom? I mean, the mom pulls up to the pizza shop. She's the one who leaves the 3 kids in the back. She goes inside apparently to see the father of 2 of the children. Arguably, but for her leaving them there, none of this happens.
I think she gets charged. I think it's child endangerment. I mean, you've got a running car. You've got 3 little babies in there. A car could pop out of gear. Anything could happen.
Yeah. So it's going to be tough. So she may get charged. The mob may not get charged. And somebody's dead. Vigilante justice or people just trying to help somebody? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Of course, Trump is doubled down on, yes, that situation over the weekend where he tweeted out they can all just go home.
They're very unhappy. I'm watching them. All they do is complain. So all I'm saying is if they want to leave, they can leave.
Is it racist? Is it not racist? Is it him being honest? I mean, if she's white, which she's not, who he's really targeting, and that is Ilhan Omar, because he said they can go home. Well, the reality is the other 3 were born here in the United States of America. So, and I think they've kind of lumped themselves into it. But is the race play a part of it? I mean, if she's Swedish or Russian or British, but then becomes a naturalized citizen and is in government, and Trump says this, are we talking about this? That's a question that I think is fair to ask. But you also got to look at the messenger. Everybody on one side of the aisle believes that Trump is racist, scumbag, and evil. And on the other side of the aisle, they have protected him on numerous occasions. More and more coming out today condemning what he said. But I think there is a culture battle going on in this country when it comes to what America is. And you've got a new group of people, in particular, several very progressive politicians who are trying to redefine America and rewrite some of America. They like all that America has given them. They hate the way that America has gotten there. And they want to change a lot of it going forward. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Tweet at me. Check out the Instagram as well. WoundedPawProject.org is amazing. I've been working with them for a while, and I will tell you this. What they do is just incredible to help our veterans, first responders, and their family. And what they do for animals, showing that they can rescue dogs that are otherwise going to be put to sleep and train them to become service dogs, connect them with the veterans, first responders, and their families, and change lives. Not just the person's life, but the paw, as they call it, the dog's life. You're saving a paw to save a life. It is awesome. They really need your help, though. They do. And what they need is your unwanted vehicle, RV, truck, boat, whatever you have, floats, flies, whatever it is. They'll take it. You're going to get a great tax-deductible gift, and you truly are going to be saving a paw to save a life. It is amazing. 20 veterans a day commit suicide on average. This is a life changer. They also take cash. Check everything out for yourself at woundedpawproject.org, woundedpawproject.org, or call 844-6784-PAW. That's 844-678-4729, woundedpawproject.org. Chad Benson Show.
No need to fear. We promise we won't give you a noogie and make you cry Russia, Russia, Russia.
Who is the fearless leader?
Fui.
Fui, fui, and double fui.
What is your language? This is a family show, remember?
Fui to families too.
Nostrovia. This is Chad Benson.
Michelle Carter filed an appeal today asking the Supreme Court to review her conviction, claiming that her conviction violated her First Amendment right. She was convicted of involuntary manslaughter in 2017 after a judge determined that her text to her boyfriend, Conrad Roy, persuaded him to take his own life. The case has raised questions about free speech and whether a person should be held responsible through their words for someone else's actions.
Yeah, you got to remember this was a girl who her boyfriend at the time had threatened on numerous occasions to say he was going to kill himself. At first she said don't do it. Then she, through time, had gotten to the point where it seemed to be egging him on. And I don't know, it's text, so it's hard to interpret. Like, it's like you're always talking about it. Either do it, so you shut up or do it kind of scenario. But eventually he did it. And this came out, and she was sentenced to numerous years in prison because of it. And now they're saying, well, hold on a second. What did she do? Did that violate her free speech? That's a tough one right there. That's a tough one. That is. And see if SCOTUS even takes it up. Because can you hold somebody culpable for their own actions? Well, she encouraged. Yeah, what she did was awful and horrible. But apparently she had gone to some people as well. I mean, she's not blameless in any of this. But at the same time, he was the one who ultimately did it. So just because somebody tells you to jump off a bridge doesn't mean you do it. I don't know. It's going to be very interesting to see.
This began as an ordinary fishing trip on the San Francisco Bay, something the captain says he's been doing 4 to 5 times a week for the last 20 years. But today's catch literally took his breath away.
What the That's a great white!
Yeah, a great white. How about that? Shows you how strong they are, though. That's what's interesting when you listen to what this great white did.
About a half mile out from Alcatraz, he says what turned out to be a great white shark dragged the boat around for about 2 miles for more than an hour.
And just trying to hold on to the rod and reel. It almost pulled me into the water at one point.
Joey is the captain of Golden Gate Sport Fishing. He and his customers released the great white back into the water.
They're home. We're in their home, so it's a scary thing, but it was an adrenaline rush for sure.
Yeah, because you know what you caught, right? You have no idea what you caught because you're out fishing, something bites on it. You're like, oh, I'm going to reel that up. And I know what you're thinking. It towed him around for 2 miles, but you don't know what you're catching, and you have to release a great white. That's the law. They're protected. You have to release a great white.
Joey says this shark appeared to be between 6.5 to 8 feet long.
Never hooked into a big shark like that. We've caught sharks 300-400 pounds, but we've never caught a great white shark.
That's a baby right there, by the way, for those of you not keeping score. 6 to 8 feet. Ooh, little baby. Little bit of a baby. Just a smidge of a baby right there. Just smidge. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Trump doubling down again on his tweets over the weekend about if you don't like it here, you can go home. People are calling him racist. And
if you're not happy here, you can leave. And that's what I say all the time. That's what I said in a tweet, which I guess some people think is controversial. A lot of people love it, by the way. A lot of people love it.
He's Trump. Love him or hate him, you know exactly what you're getting, so don't be surprised. Your useless fact of the day. Starbucks, when they were debating what to call it, they wanted to actually call it Pequod, which is the name of the boat in Moby Dick, but instead they settled on the first mate. His name was Starbuck. Have a great rest of your Monday. We'll do it again tomorrow. As always, night-night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.